Hey everyone, I just wanted to take this time to say thank you so much for everyone with the support, for reaching out. It's great to have all the new listeners, so welcome. If you guys are brand new, feel free to go check out. We have over 150 plus episodes at this point that go in from when I was a personal trainer, wanting to break into med device sales, to how I got 4 job offers with the top companies. Broke in with Medtronic as a full line rep, took the lowest performing territory in the nation to top 10. We're a regional sales manager now for a medtech startup called Innovis Medical, and we've helped over 1,100 people break in the last 2.5 years, and where our average person is now breaking in at 9.8 weeks and at a $91,000 average. So it's been fun. Honestly, we need to run the numbers again because we've had a lot of people break in at over 6 figures in under 8 weeks. So I have a feeling that the average is going to be going lower for weeks and higher for pay, which is always a cool thing to see. But I just wanted to, again, say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to everybody who reaches out. If you guys don't have, make sure you make a LinkedIn. You're going to need one no matter what. Feel free to reach out to me at Jacob McLaughlin. Always love connecting with you guys and love being able to just have conversations, see if I can help you in any way. The one thing I always do just say is just do a little bit of research, listen to the episodes. That way I can be helpful. Again, I'm always happy to get on calls with people, but when you just ask me what is med device sales, or I get this all the time of where'd you work, and it's a 2-second search on my LinkedIn. I can only help you guys so much, and I want to make it as beneficial to you. But today's episode, we're going to continue into the interview process, how to help you guys have more success inside the interview process, because it's something I get a lot of questions about. So just going to dive deeper into there. And then also I do want to just make a comment, and we've had to start stating this, is I am only a coach with new to medical device sales. I do not work for any other programs. I'm not a part of any other programs, because I want to make sure we're giving our people the best coaching possible and that I can be fully committed to all of you. So I just need to say, if you were told that Jacob McLaughlin is part of any other groups or coaching anywhere else, I'm sorry, but that is not the truth. We are only part of new to medical device sales. And I just have to make sure to start stating that now, and just because of some recent past events. And so I just wanted to make sure to get that out to you guys. And then again, if you are really interested in breaking into medical device sales, we offer a course that is all self-paced, modules, videos, downloadable PDFs, and quizzes that you do at your own time. We also meet every week on office hours. We also do mock interviews, mock role plays, where we usually meet once to twice a week. So again, you're getting 2 to 3 times a week that we're meeting as an actual group. We record those, so if you can't make them, no worries, you can watch them later. And then we offer coaching in this course. Again, if you go and click the link below and see the links or the courses page, and you see the testimonials, you'll see that nobody has even close to the amount of testimonials that we have. We have 30 plus. Again, every person that's been on the podcast in the last 1.5 years has been people from our course that have gotten real life results. We know that our average person is getting a 30x return in the first 3 months. And the reality is, we know we deliver on our promise, and so we only take, because of that, as of right now, 5 people. It will be going up in the future because you are hearing that we are getting people hired faster, and we also, just how we have our program designed, is able to start taking a little more, because we just want to continue to help as many people as possible. But the biggest thing that you're going to just continue to see is nobody's able to deliver on how we deliver, and I'm very fortunate about that, and I'm very strong about that. Nobody has a program like ours because we just have the results. I don't say anything, we just let the results speak for themselves. And again, you can go listen to anybody, you can go reach out to our people that have taken our course. They're always happy to get on calls with you guys. But again, what I would just tell you is, if you just look, as I always say this, we live in a very cancel culture area and a cancel culture time. And if I was not delivering on what I say I deliver on every time I post, I would get comments saying I don't. You see all this stuff, but you don't. You see only people saying that they took the course, they got hired in under 10 weeks, under 8 weeks, under 6 weeks, and they got placed at multiple figures, and now they're having success in medical device sales. And so that's what I would just tell you. The thing is we only deal with really serious people. So what I would just say is that we have the opportunity to apply for that program. Again, at this moment, we're only taking 5 people, so you have to be committed. I always say you got to be coachable, willing to work hard, but you got to be committed, because everybody tells me they want to break in, and then we have a lot of great stuff we offer, and they see the value in the program, but, and it's always the but, and don't really care after that. Because I can just tell you, I was a personal trainer, everybody told me they wanted to come train with me, and they'd see me in 3 weeks, and guess what? Never saw them ever again after that. So I understand that when people reach out to me and they're like, oh, this is great. The one thing I would just say is they always are like, oh, I just had some questions about the course. Well, we have a video going over the whole course. We have the testimonials. We have 150 plus episodes. We talk about the course a lot in our episodes. So I guess the conversation I usually have with people, if there's a couple questions I can answer for you, happy to. But like I say all the time, it's no different than the podcast. I'm not going to say anything much different than when I talk to you guys, because otherwise I'd have to get on 1,000 phone calls, and I'd rather just tell you all the same at the same time, or all the same thing at the same time. So that's what I would just say. Again, but if you are really serious about breaking into medical device sales, we have been able to help over 1,100 people break in the last 2.5 years. We're so blessed to be a part of this journey and be a part of so many great people's journey. And again, the last thing I'll say to that is it's not only a course, it's lifetime access, because we are building a community here. If you guys saw, we just had our first new to medical device sales meetup where I was able to take some of our former students and current students. They even flew in from Florida, Iowa, Texas, Mississippi, Georgia. It was awesome. Literally just so cool to see all the people that came out, and was able to take them to dinner and just connect and have a great night. And we're going to be doing more stuff like that here in the future. So again, it's not just about the one time, hey, because we understand this world is about connections and the people that you are classmates with and the people you meet through this program. We also know we'll be hiring one day. We also know might need colleagues one day. And so we understand the network effect there. So that's what I would just say if you think about the value that comes in with this, and also being able to have us coach you. So again, please feel free to reach out, but let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and coming to you this evening, getting you guys out a podcast, wanting to make sure we provide a bunch of value, and want to just hope you guys are having a good week and starting it off great. I've gotten a lot of messages just telling me that the interview process that we've been going kind of through has been very helpful and extremely helpful. So I just wanted to kind of carry off on that. Again, always happy to have you guys reach out. Anything that you're really specifically wanting to hear or me go over, feel free to reach out. Happy to go over it on the podcast, and I can also put that out on the Instagram. Do want to just give a couple shout outs. We got multiple people hired this week. And then if you followed our Instagram at all, you saw all of the people we have in final interviews and 4th round interviews. We even have people who literally just got in the course, and in under a week and a half, they're already in interview processes. So a lot of fun to see the success. If you guys are interested in breaking into medical device sales, please feel free to reach out. And again, if you don't have a LinkedIn, you're going to need one. If you like LinkedIn and you don't, you should like it. And all right, let's get into the interview process for you guys. So the one thing I wanted to think about is everything you need to know about the interview process. And so many times I've said it on here, but I want to restate it. It's 5 to 7 interviews, 6 to 12 weeks long, and it could be anywhere from, 3 to 500 plus people. And so again, that's just the average that I see. Are there some less? Are there some more? Yes. Are there less people, more people? Yes. So I just wanted to give you guys, normally what we see is there's usually going to be 5 to 7 interviews, and usually what that's going to look like is number one, and I should state this before we get going, every single interview process is going to be different, because a distributorship might only take 2 interviews compared to an actual big giant like the Medtronics, the Johnson Johnsons, the Strykers, the Zimmers. They could be the 5 to 7 that we normally see, because there's the HR, it's all the regulations, it's the processes they have to go through. And so normally when we're going through this interview process, it's going to be number one, it's going to be a meeting with the HR. Then number 2, you're going to go meet with the regional manager. Then number 3 is going to usually be talking to some reps or another manager. Number 4, usually the exact same thing, more reps or more managers. Number 5, then it usually circles back to the regional manager that you were with. That's usually, quote unquote, that could be the final presentation. Maybe sometimes it's not. Some will put like a 6 where they'll do possibly like the Gallup review or a personality test that could come in before the regional manager. So just understanding what that could be, that's 5 or 6, right? And then usually that final interview is going to be with the VP. And the one thing I always just talk about is the VP can never say yes, they just say no. And to some people that doesn't make much sense, but basically a VP can come in and say, they just will agree with the regional manager, because it's the regional manager's job to hire the person, and they can just say, I think it's a good choice, good job. They can give their sign off on it, but They're not going to be the ones that would be like, you need to choose this person. That's the regional manager's job. But what they can do is be like, I think you've picked a horrible person. This is not who I would choose. So no, you cannot hire them. They can say no. So hopefully that makes sense. But I wanted to go more into the interview processes. We've talked about meeting with the HR, doing that kind of that first round where it's pretty simple. But what I wanted to go more into is, hey, now you're meeting with the hiring manager. What do you need to expect? I actually just had a call. So just so you guys know, I don't publicly broadcast this. Today will be the first day that I do. Every once in a while I will, if people reach out, they have an interview coming up, I will do an interview prep call. Again, just so you all know, it is not free. And it is not $2. So hopefully that gives you some clarification of what it might cost if you would like to do it. But again, I'm always happy to get on a quick call for about 30 minutes to get you guys prepped. But what I can just say to that is, it's one 30-minute call is not enough to help you guys land a 7-week or 7-process job, right? That's why we have the course. But I'm always happy to get on a call, prep you guys as much as you guys can, and hope for the best. But the one thing I would say is, when you guys are going through that interview process with that regional manager, right, it is going back to a first date, right? They want to just make sure that they like you and that they think that you would be a good fit for their team. But the one thing I always see people do is they're like, what do I even say? Should I bring my whole book? Should I be fully prepared to close them? And I'm like, that's the equivalent of going out on the first date and being like, I can't wait to marry you, and this is where we're gonna live in 5 years with our 3 kids, and you already have the names. And that person's like, I don't even know your middle name. And then they start running away. And so the reason I always just use that is when I say that, most people are like, okay, got it. Don't go that hard. Don't go that extreme on the first date. And again, they're just wanting to see, how prepared are you? Again, I always tell you guys, I said this on the last podcast, can you just be prepared to answer why you want to work for that company, why you want to be in medical device sales, and why you're the best candidate over somebody else, right? What have you done to be prepared for this opportunity? And so normally when we're coaching our students in this, it's really, hey, dress professionally, come prepared. And again, if it's a phone call, same thing. Always just be ready I always dressed professionally, just so you guys know, I always dressed professionally, even when it was a phone call when I had interviews, just because it gets you more into the mode compared to if you're in pajamas or just shorts, just hanging out, you're in a more relaxed mode compared to, I would actually dress up, get a suit on, and be ready to go. Because here's the thing is, it usually doesn't happen, but you never know. Maybe they're like, get on a Zoom call, and it could be a test. Again, it never happened, but I always just prepared for that. And so what I would just say is, when you guys are getting ready for that first round interview, or that second round, again, hence wherever you're at, it's really just coming prepared with those questions that you want to do, and knowing that you're a good candidate, and really just making sure that it's a good conversation. Usually these aren't very long, 15 to 25 minutes. Again, and then you just need to make sure you close them. How do you close them? It's, do you have any reservations why I want to move on to the next round? And then they're going to tell you yes or no. And then you can kind of say where you go. But again, we talked about this with the HR last week. If you didn't say it, maybe this is the time to say it now, is you need to find out, why is the position open? You need to understand when they're looking to fill the position by. And then you can even ask, one of my best questions is, what would you need to see for this to be a successful hire? They're going to tell you what you would like to hear. And they're going to tell you what they're actually looking for. So that's always something to just be aware of. And then from there, you go in the interview process. Then you're going to go into that third round. Again, a lot of times that third round is going to be meeting with either a rep or another manager. And what this is a lot of times these managers will be like, hey, this is who I'm thinking, but I want to get signed off from peers or people that they would be working with, and I want to make sure you guys think they're a good fit. So again, a lot of times it's the exact same thing. They're going to ask similar questions. You need to know what's your why you want to be in medical device sales, why you're even interested in this company, and why you feel like you're a great fit. If you can answer those 3 questions, and again, there's always more that you can prepare and get in, but those are the 3 main questions that you should be ready to go with. Because then again, it's just, they like you? Are they seeing where you could fit in the team and going from there. And then again, same closes, all that good stuff. Because then once you get to the 4th and 5th round, then you're going to have the gallops and all that stuff, if you even do. Some of them don't do that. But then when you have the final presentation, that's when you need to bring it. That's when everything is getting pushed out. But also there's certain steps during the process that you can be doing while you're doing those interviews to have you set yourself apart. Because again, I just had this today where someone reached out to me and they're like, hey, what job do you get me? And I don't get you any jobs, you get yourself a job. But also it goes back to, it's just, are you coming prepared to be in one of the hardest industries in the world? That's what it comes down to. And I say this to you guys all the time, and I said on the last podcast, right? You're coming into an industry that, you can make, the average person makes 200K. So you got to act like it. Are you willing to do the work? And that's what they're waiting to see. That's what they want to see, what you can bring to the table. And most people, again, I'll say it 1,000 times, are lazy. Again, you guys, you hear me and you're like, man, why does Jacob repeat himself so much? It's because I say this every single week. And literally today I had 2 people call me, ask me for jobs, not come prepared. Had one girl the other day say she was going to call me at 1 o'clock. At 1:03 doesn't call me. So I just decided to call her because I needed to get my day on the road. Called her. She's like, oh, I was just getting ready to call you. And then was like, oh, I'm going through the interview process. And I asked her if she had any questions. She said, nah, I don't really have any questions. I guess, I don't know. I've been in a couple interviews. I never make it past the first round. So I don't know if it's me or if it's the interview process. And I said, without a doubt, it is 1,000% you. And she was like, oh, okay. And I did not say this, so she's going to listen to the podcast because I told her to listen to the podcast, but here is just the honest truth. You want to know why I know you'll never get into medical device sales? Because you told me you'd call me at 1 o'clock and it was 1:03 and you still didn't call me. You want a job that's going to pay you over $100,000 and you can't even tell me what time. And let me tell you why this is so specific, why I get so intense, because I had a call right after with somebody else, and when I explained it to them, they said it makes it perfect sense. Because when you say you're going to call at 1 and you can't even call at 1 and you don't even call at 1:02 or 1:03, and then you don't have any remorse for not doing it, do you think the surgeon cares when you forget something and now their patient on the table is suffering because you're the idiot who forgot something? And again, some people will be like, geez, he said idiot. Yes, because you were an idiot, because you get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do your job. You messed up. Now somebody's life, somebody's mom, father, sister, brother, grandma, life is affected because of you. Because you could not do the one thing that you're meant to do. And now that surgeon has to go do the surgery that's not going to be as successful as it would have been if you would have actually come prepared. And now that surgeon, you the rep, never have to see that person again. But that surgeon has to go look that person in the face and say, hey, because my rep sucked today, we didn't get the surgery, or you're going to have to come back, or we didn't give you an A+ surgery, you got a C-, and you probably have to come back in 3 years. You have to probably go through some issues in your body, and you'll probably have to take time off work and go through another painful surgery and anesthesia and the recovery time. That's what that means. And everybody's like, geez. But that's what you guys don't understand when you miss little things like that. It goes through the interview process. When you can't do the back end work, that's what these managers see, because they know what it takes in this industry. But when you can't even show up at 1 o'clock and you say you're going to show up at 1 o'clock, why would anybody trust you with anything? Right? And again, to the girl, very sweet girl. This is not at her. This is an example. This is an example that she is unfortunately the face of because she did not come prepared. And again, you guys were like, geez, Jacob, why would you say that? Because I probably have 1,000 episodes where we go over this, and still it happens. And this is the one thing I will also continue to say, you guys, because I've said this multiple times, and I think I said on the last podcast, is when there is episodes, again, there weren't much, because hence why I created what I've created. But when I was going through this process and I found a podcast, there's like several episodes, like there's a lot of episodes. I listened to every single episode before I ever reached out to that person. Hopefully you guys hear that, because I'm the person who is like, I need to make sure I know what I'm talking about, and I can actually reference some of the things that they talked about when I talk to them, so I don't seem like a silly goose, compared to I have so many people be like, listen to 2 episodes, so I figured I better call ya. Yeah. And then they're like, so how long have you been in? I'm like, it's a 2-second LinkedIn search. Oh. Any questions for me? No, I just wanted to pick your brain. Okay, right? Hence why I tell you guys it's not that hard to be successful. Most people are just those people. If you're not those people, you are looking good, my friends. So again, you guys, the reason I'm saying all this, and I went into this detail about it, and there was a little side note of not in the interview process, but hopefully you can see that little, if they tell you to show up at 1, you better show up at 1. If they tell you to do your research, you better freaking do your research, because you are going for jobs that are going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And just remember this, our average person gets hired at $91,000 in under 10 weeks. But we've got people placed at $110,000 starting out with massive car stipends. Remember this, this is the least amount of money you will ever make in your life in this industry. It's more than most people ever make in their careers ever. That's the industry you're going into. So that's why you have to come prepared. That's why you need to bring the heat. That's why you need to be the best candidate. You're going up against 500 other people. I just talked to another person last week. Yeah, I saw there's so many people applying. Yeah, and that's why you have to be awesome. That's why you have to bring the heat. That's why you have to be the number one person that they're like, man, this kid has it. This person has it. This person has the passion. This person has the energy. This person has the grit. This person has just the personality that we're looking for. But most of you guys, I just had a conversation with somebody who they called me and they're trying to go through an interview process and they're wondering why they're having some trouble, but they don't understand what's going on. It's because, do you feel that heat? Do you feel the passion? Do you feel the energy? Do you feel that you really want to be in this room and that you want this job more than anything? Because I don't. And that's the thing I just need you guys to get. Again, I'm very happy and I'm very thankful and I'm very blessed because God gifted me with this talent. But like for me, if I'm not going to talk about anything I'm not passionate about, and if I'm going to go for it, I'm going to go all in. So the reason I'm saying that is that was the number one thing I heard when people reached out to me. They're like, Jacob, you have so much passion. I just love your energy. I want to be around you. That's why I kept getting callbacks. So again, you could not even know what the heck you're doing, but you just are a happy person, hardworking and ready to bring the energy. And I promise you, your life will probably be pretty good in this industry. You'll probably get some actual interviews that you probably even shouldn't get just because you're a happy go-getter, right? It's just, can you be the person that they're looking for? Can you bring the energy? Can you actually do the work? And then if you do a half of what I say, you will go to the next round. And this is just the honest truth, is that if you want to be successful in this industry, you need to be consistent, you need to be hardworking, and you need to be doing what others aren't willing to do, aka just the extra work, the extra searching of an article, the extra reading of a surgeon that you're going to be presenting on, the extra calling a rep, the extra calling every single rep in the territory, reaching out to them, actually calling maybe the competitor, not letting them know that you're interviewing with the other one, but to learn about them a little more. It's things like that that you can do that set yourself apart, and it's very simple, but most people don't understand. Jacob, I called 2 people, nobody got back to me, I'm screwed, and I don't know why I can't get hired. If you do that, I promise you, you're not going to get hired. I promise you, you're not going to go to the next round. And I promise you, you're not going to be a successful medical device sales rep when you get in. Because guess what? You get doors slammed in your face and you either are going to just be like, well, I tried. Let me just say this. Do you think my CEO, when I'm here at a medtech startup, if my CEO reaches out to me and says, Jacob, how's it going? And I'm not performing, I just say, well, Elliot, you know, I called him once and they didn't pick up. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh, we're screwed. I'd be fired. It's like you guys have to be relentless, and there's other opportunities, and you can always be doing something. So it's always coming prepared, making sure that you can be the person that they're looking for, which is not that hard, but most people are very, very lazy. And I can just tell you this, take medical device sales out. If you can just do the little things, do what you say you're gonna do, work hard and be coachable, you will rock this life and make so much money. Because most people can't do any of those things. And then if you tell them, give them feedback. Today, I had multiple people in the last 2 days I've got on phone calls with, and one person was on the phone with them for 30 seconds. And the first thing they do is, yeah, so I'd love to pick your brain, and I'm actually looking for jobs, so can you give me any? Nope, can't give you one. And I said to him very nicely, I was like, and you should never say that to another rep for as long as you live. And they were like, oh, what? And it was just because most people aren't getting told the truth. And it's the reason I just say this to you guys, it's because I love you guys and I want to help you as much as I can, because otherwise I would just do what every other rep does and be like, oh, these idiots just reach out to me, and then not help anyone. But that's not my goal. My goal is to help as many people as I can. And here's the reality. If I tell you something, it's because I care about you and I'm trying to help you. And you might think I'm just being a jerk, but guess what? At least I'm the jerk that actually told you the truth. And you just didn't want to hear it. So that's what I would just tell you guys. If you're still struggling, go back and listen to the 150 episodes that we have. If you don't want to go listen to the 150 episodes and you're still struggling, you have listened to the 150 episodes, we have a course that teaches people how to break in under 10 weeks at $91,000. We just got Jenna hired in 4.5 weeks at over 6 figures. She had no sales experience previous to that. This is the thing that I just keep telling you guys. If you were really serious about it, you will look at it as an investment. And I can tell you, most of you have tried for more than 2 months and you still haven't got in. We've gotten multiple people just in the last 3 weeks hired in under 8 weeks. So the 2 months that you tried not knowing and you're like, well, I'm just starting, these people will just starting too. And now they're actually in the job and know what to do, and you haven't even got an interview or passed the first round. So I would just say, if that's you and you're still struggling, I would reach out, I would go to the link below, I would check it out, and you would be like, oh my gosh, this isn't $3. And no, it's not $3, but we know we get a 30x return on investment in the first 3 months, which you can't go anywhere else in the world and do. And how valuable is it if you save 8 months of your time, and instead of getting placed at $51,000, you get placed at $96,000, and you actually know what you're doing and you know what to do into the next steps. I don't know. That's on you guys. But what I would just tell you is most people try to cut shortcuts, and there's certain things you just can't cut shortcuts on, or you shouldn't, right? I can just tell you guys, I was just working on one of our businesses, and there was a certain thing that is not a cheap thing, and they're like, well, I have a cheaper option. I said, hey, that's great, but this right here is not something you cut corners on. AKA, let's go to your house. Do you want to buy a massive house and then have your person that's your inspector? You just went with a cheaper inspector because it could save you bucks, but they went cheap on you? No, I wouldn't want that. But again, that's just me, because I've just lived this life long enough, and I know mentors and people who can help you really are worth their weight in gold. But again, most people just are gonna be too stubborn and be like, I can do it by myself. If Jacob did it, I can do it. And then you do it 6 months, and then you still haven't got to where you wanna go, and you're 4 rounds in, and then you fail, and then you're like, well, I'm almost there, so I'm gonna keep trying, and then it keeps on going. And so what I would just tell you guys is, if you're really serious, that's who we work with. If you're not serious, keep just listening. And I will just say this, somebody said this to me the other day, and it was a couple months ago, and I've listened to it. It was actually a podcast, and it was mental masturbation. Most people will do mental masturbation where they just listen to stuff, and they're like, yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. And they never do anything instead of actually doing the act of. So if that's you, if you've listened to this podcast for 4 months and you haven't reached out to one person, stop listening and start reaching out to people on LinkedIn. That's what I would just tell you. Because most people, there are so many people who listen to this podcast and they're like, I'm just gonna listen. And then they call me and they're like, I've listened to you for 8 months. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, how many people have you networked with? And they're like, 3. And I'm like, what were you listening to? Because I'm pretty sure every podcast I say to network with people. So that's what I would just tell you guys. If that's you, you can go with it. But here's the thing. I know I talk about the course, but here's the reality. Made this podcast for 2.5 years without ever asking for anything. I don't need the money. Don't want the money if you don't want to be a part of it. We know what we do. We know the return on investment. We know what we're offering in this industry is literally fake. You can go onto the courses page, see 30 plus testimonial videos. Every podcast in the last 1.5 years are people from our course that have gotten success. So if you don't want to believe that, you don't have to. That's why we do all the free stuff on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, podcast. And then if you're looking for a low cost, we have the New to Medical Device Sales Book, Guide to Breaking In, for $30 on the website. If $30 is too much, totally get it. That's why we do the free stuff. And then I would just tell you guys, make sure you start coming prepared. Make sure you do the little things. Make sure you can just understand. But what you guys will hear is I'm teaching you how to go through the process. It goes back to the whole thing. If you know how to play the game, you can win the game. But the problem is most of you don't even know how to play the game. We're talking basketball, and I can tell you to do it in and out, between the legs, through the behind the back, fade away 3. And you're like, what's a basketball? That's the equivalent I can say is most of you are where you're at. And a lot of you just need the help to get you to where you would like to go. And most of it's just coming from a coaching and a lack of knowledge and being able to coach you into that process so you can actually have success. So hopefully this was helpful. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Always love connecting with you guys. If you have topics you would like me to go over, feel free to shoot them out. Always happy to connect and get new ideas. But until next time, I hope you guys have an amazing week. Keep going after your goals. Bring the passion, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.